Hey guys, welcome back. I have been away for a long time. I am so sorry about that, but I am back. I'm going to start recording videos again now. And today we have top 7 tips on becoming a commission painter. It's not much of a trade secret, so I'm not like busting out, the magician's biggest tricks or whatever. But it's more of sharing my experience, what happened, and things that I do to prevent bad things to happen to myself and the client. So without further ado, let's start off with number 7. Commission painting as a business. Yes, that's right. Commission painting is not just a hobby, it's also a business. You're running a professional business. You're wanting to be a pro painter. It doesn't mean that, like a professional painter. I shouldn't say pro painter because it has a bad connotation on eBay. But a professional painter means that if you're painting and selling your services and becomes like a job to you or a side job to you, that means you are a professional painter. Whether you are a good professional painter or a bad professional painter, it doesn't matter. You're still a professional painter, and then your client still has the option to choose the services. So if you have, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of different rivals that you're going to have. Some of them might even be your friends. So the clients have a lot of different choices, and you can't force them to go to you. But remember that commission painting is a business, and you gotta treat it like a business. With that being said, let's go on to tips number 2. Always write a contract. Yes, sometimes it might be a douchey move for you to create a contract, especially if you're doing it for a friend. But again, remember the first tip, it is a business. You're trying to save your own ass and save your client's ass, and you don't want anything bad to happen. Fortunately, I've never had a bad experience before, but I've read in the forums about people just taking this. The client took the stuff without paying, or the client didn't really like what happened, the results, and then they still have to pay the premium price. There is a contract is something to go back to. This is an agreement that we both agreed and signed on, and we agreed to follow those guidelines, those things that we signed on that we agreed on. This ranges from a lot of different things. Like for example, you have 3 days grace period before you have to pay for your models. As the painter, you'll show the completion. Let's say if you're out of state, or like both you and the client are in different places, like far away, you can show pictures of work in progress or samples, and then you tell them like, okay, I'm gonna give you work in progress pictures once every week, and then in the final day I'm gonna show you, okay, this is what I did. Are you satisfied or not? If you as a client say yes, I'm satisfied, then you have 3 days grace period to pay. And then every day that you are late in paying, that's 10% extra from the base cost, not accumulative from what you're being late. So you're late 10 days, that means you're paying double the price of what you originally supposed to pay. So it encouraged the client, 1, to pay faster, or pay in time at least, and 2, for you to finish on time, because you want, if you want to make this into a business and you want to make extra money, then, get it in the time period that you want. What a lot of people are afraid of mentioning contract is they're going to sound like a douche. There's a lot of different way to say, the way that you present yourself makes you a douche. Not how you, like, hey, here's a contract. But for me, I approach my clients in a way that, hey, I want both of us to be safe. So you mentioned that I want both of us to be safe. This is the first time that I had a commission with you. I don't want anything to happen. I don't want, to get snubbed. I don't want to get tricked or anything. And that way it also brings out your professionalism. Now, speaking of trying to make extra money, let's get on with our third tip. Have a good intention. What does that mean? When you're creating a business, what is your intention? Yes, you want to get extra money. Yes, you want to make this into your primary job or things like that. But in your mind, you have to have a good mindset, because from what I find out, if I want to do commission painting just because I want to have money, it's gonna burn me out really, really fast. For example, for me, when I started up a commission painting business, at first, yes, I was unemployed, so I wanted to get some extra money, something to bring back home. Especially, I was recently just got married and then I lost my job. I was in desperation mode and I wanted money quick. It didn't work out too well because I got burned out so fast. I get tired. I felt like, oh man, I gotta do this again. It feels like an actual, 9-to-5 job, maybe even more. If you think about how long you painted your miniatures for, that's basically your work hours. There's no clock in, there's no clock out. If you finish the product, you finish it. What I'm saying is, be careful of your intention. Have a good intention. For me right now, what I want to do is get as much as client as possible with all different variety of models because I want to practice my painting skills. I wanted to, up my level, if you want to say that. It's not an easy thing getting clients, especially, if you're new to the industry or new to the hobby. I guess intentions you could say as motivations as well. What do you want to do, and why do you want to do a commission painting business? Like I said, if you want to do this just for the money, you're gonna get burned out really fast. Speaking of leveling up your painting skills, this is the next tip. Use the models that you paint for your clients as a practice piece. It's kind of bad to say, but if you practice your best and if you do a mistake on the client's pieces, strip them out and redo them again. Because most of the time models are expensive, especially if you're buying GW products. It's always expensive unless you go into the secondhand market or the eBay route. So it is good to actually practice on your client's model because you can just keep leveling up, like you getting used to. Let's say you're painting, 100 Space Marines. The first 10 Marines are going to be the crappiest looking out of the last set of 10. I can guarantee you that the last set of 10 is going to take either faster to do it or it looks better. By the time that you look at the first 10, you might kind of want to redo them. If you're not used to painting certain things like, oh, I've never painted orcs before, put out an ad saying commission painting ready for orcs or ready for Eldars, anything that you want, so you can practice. So by the time that you're actually painting your own army, you actually get, the quality that you wanna feel on the table. Now, after you finish practicing with your client's model, here's the next tip. Have an agreement with your client to bring it into competitions. Not your client bringing it to competitions, but have you, yourself as the painter, use the client's models and bring it into the competitions. There is no rule ever against that. The only rule that is wrong is when you finish painting models for your client brings it into the painting competition and claim it as theirs. Now that is bad. I wrote a contract saying that if you ever do that, those models becomes mine automatically. Yes, if you're out of state from me, I'm not going to know that sometimes, but sometimes competitions, they're posted online. The online world is not that small. You can probably find it, and it happens to one of my friends. So bring them to competitions. Why? Because as a painter, you have nothing to back you up on, like reputation wise. Like, who are you that I'm gonna pay $100 for one model? I've never even heard of you. By winning those competitions, those are basically your battle scars. It proves that you're a veteran in the painting world. In a sense, it might be kind of showy for you to like lay out all your trophies like, hey, this is what I did, this is what I won, blah blah blah. It's your resume, it's your portfolio. You're trying to get clients. You have to be showy, you have to sell yourself, and a lot of different things that you could do to basically prep up your resume. One, have a lot of different winnings and have them, the organizers post your name in places like, oh, the winner for this is this, and this, and your name is in it. That is the best portfolio line that you could ever see on your, your resume. Another thing is create a blog to showcase your models, or a video blog, or a showcase, like a YouTube channel. Take pictures. Learn to take the pictures because the pictures sell. If you're not local and show off your model on the table, then there's no way that other people can know about you. So showcase your models, and when you bring your models to the store to play, make sure that you paint your best, because once you're playing it on the table, you're showing off your models. Like, oh, those models looks really nice. I'm like, yeah, I do commission painting. Are you interested, in hiring my services? So if you have an agreement with your client to actually bring their models to competitions like I did, there's two things that could happen from you winning. One, you upgrade your portfolio by saying, oh, I won this competition, and put that into your portfolio, put that into your resume. Two, your client comes back home with an award-winning models. It's win-win for both situations, and you should find clients that actually let you to do that. Now, I also mentioned service. Let's get on to the next tip. Commission painting is also a service. If the client does not like your service, they don't have to either A, tip you, B, pay you. If they're not satisfied, if I'm not satisfied at a certain service, let's say, going to a restaurant and I'm not satisfied with the waiter, I wouldn't tip him at all, because tipping is service. Yeah, I understand that, sometimes they only get paid like $2, $3 an hour and they rely on their tips. But if you give shitty service, why would I tip you? Why would I pay you for a shitty service, right? So you got to remember that it's a service. Some of the good service tips that I could give you: give work in progress pictures on a weekly basis. Stay in contact with your client on a weekly basis, or don't disappear. Just like oh, I'm gone, and suddenly, oh, I'm done. You don't want that. You want to stay in contact with your client. Make sure your client is very comfortable with you. They're giving you a lot of money to paint their models, so there's a lot of trust involved there. So make sure they trust you, and later on, if they trust you enough, you don't even have to do contracts anymore. And then when they trust you enough, they'll tell their friends, like, oh, there's this guy who does really good job in painting. He does really good service. Like, he updates me every week. He gives me pictures every week. He hits on his deadlines every single time, sometimes even early. That way, if they're super satisfied, like in the beginning of my contract, I said, oh yeah, I want X amount of dollars plus tips. And he's like, plus tips? What do you mean? If you're satisfied with the product, if you're satisfied with my paint job, if you're satisfied with my service, you can give me a little bit extra. You don't have to do it, but if you think that my paint job is worth the tip, then you give me the tip. So far, I've gotten like $20 extra or $40 extra. It's because I said $100 plus tips. And the guy actually loved the model that I did. He gave me extra money for the tip. On top of that, using those models for a competition, I actually won some online painting competitions. So it's like getting double paid. The next tip is kind of cliche, but it is true in every situation. Always put the best effort in painting your clients. If you're dragging it, your quality shows. Word of mouth is a really dangerous thing, especially if you're doing this online. Why? Because if you don't put your effort in it, you're like, yeah, whatever, I just want to finish it. Your client can tell their friends and say, oh, this guy is not, it's not worth that much. Yeah, he could have like, a gazillion awards behind him, but if it looked really crappy on the table, what it matters is if the client likes it or not, right? You could have done like the worst paint job in the world, and then your client loved it, then you did a good job. But if you do your best effort on the paint job for your client, and if your client doesn't like it, at least you did your best effort. You showed them, this is the best I can do. I can't do anything else. There is going to be some douchey clients that say, no matter what you do, I'm not going to be satisfied. That's why you have a contract to go back on. So you're not snubbed, and your client, is stuck with a brilliant paint job that he doesn't like. Again, because a paint job is it's a matter of taste. Sometimes people don't like pink. Sometimes people don't like blue. It's just a lot of different reasons why people can't, don't like your paint job. It doesn't mean that you did a bad paint job. So by the time that you finish your client's models and you did the best effort, it feels good. It feels like you reached another goal. You leveled up in your painting skill because you painted 100 orcs. The next time you get an orc client, you'll be like, this is a piece of cake. I can do it faster. Now, speaking of faster, it ties into how much do you want to get paid. And it follows our next tip. Set how much you want to get paid at the end of the day. Because you're doing this as a business. This is a service. You're working your hardest effort, and you want to know how much you want to get paid. Yes? The way to do this, you got to calculate how much time do I spend painting a model. I paint a high quality tabletop standard for 10 hours usually. I want to get paid $10 an hour. Basically, that's almost minimum, right? Because getting $10 an hour is already hard. So calculating that 10 hours and $10, you get $100 per model. That's how much I usually charge for an HQ model. Yes, it is a little much, but the quality that they get is never tabletop standard, because I don't like the word tabletop standard because everyone's standard is different. My tabletop standard and your tabletop standard might be different. I like certain things on my models, you might not. So I don't have a standard of commission painting like, oh, what's the quality? I always say I always paint my best. So there's no tiered level, how much you gotta pay. You pay my service, one quality, and I always paint my best for your model. That way it eliminates a lot of different hassle. Oh, you should have paid $10 more and you could get this, an extra highlight of it. No, just do it your best, and then the quality will show. The client will like it, and he will spread the news about your commission painting. That's the way that I calculate how much I want to get paid. I want to get paid around $5 to $10 an hour, and then a model usually takes me about 10 hours, in the highest standard that I can do it. And calculate that, just multiply it, and then you get how much you should take, that into consideration for your client. Not to mention that you also have to add in, paint costs, material costs. Don't add in like, oh, I need a new brush into it. You only meet those kind of clients that would pay for your paint once in a while. Usually I don't charge for paint. I usually put it into the hourly work. And, after this tip, you'll realize that it is not a very high paying job. It's barely minimum. You're doing this for the enjoyment of the hobby, and you're practicing. That's why I said that your intention has to be clear. Like, you know what you're walking in. With that being said, this is the last tip that I'm going to tell you guys. Try to have fun at. Again, if you try to make this into just trying to make money, at the end of the day, you're probably not going to have fun. If you try to level up, if you try to be better in your skills in painting, you're probably going to have fun. It is a job, but if you want to make this into a career, you won't be able to do it unless you have fun. It's like being a professional basketball player. Yeah, the money is interesting, but if you keep doing it over and over and over, you're going to get tired, and if you don't enjoy it, you won't show up. You won't show your best quality. You'll probably get burnt out really fast. Again, it is a job. This is a business. This is a service. You, as the guy who's doing all that service, need to have fun. A good example is Disney cast members. You'll see some of them are really overexcited about certain things because they love their job. They like what they're doing. If you don't have fun and not liking painting in the first place, don't try to open up a commission painting business because you want to get extra money. You're not going to be successful. I'm sorry I have to tell you that. And that is all my tips for you guys who wanted to start a commission painting business. I have now open slots for commission jobs. If you guys are interested, please just let me know. PM me on YouTube, on Facebook, or on the WGC community Facebook, or the forum, or if you have my email, just email me. As for the pricing, everyone has a different, every model has a different pricing cost. So it depends on what you want to do. I don't really do army, like huge army. But if you have like a squad or an HQ that you want me to do, just let me know. I can do it for you. Contact me, and my information is probably just going to be down below, except for my email, obviously. But just contact me through PM, and then I'll let you know how much, depending on the model. Again, yes, you would have to sign a contract. I'm not trying to be a douche. I'm just trying to save both us behind. And I usually have an agreement that when I paint your model, I'm allowed to bring him into painting competitions and then turn it in because I did paint your models. So let me know if you're interested. But here we go, the tips, the top 7 tips on becoming a commission painter. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks again. Bye.